Hey y'all, I'm Kady Rain. I'm a pop artist from Austin, Texas, and today I'm gonna give you a little backstory on my debut album, which is also called Kady Rain. It's me. So yeah, this album is my debut album. I have been making music for this project for about 8 years now, or it'll be 8 years this year. And this is my first album. So it is definitely a long time coming. I've wanted to release an album, but never, the time wasn't right, or the songs didn't work together. I don't know, it just never really came together. But after a few years and after COVID happening without being able to play, I really wanted to put something out into the world that I was going to be proud of, and put something out into the world that would be surprising for people. I am a pop artist, but pop can be considered kind of a dirty word to some people, even though pop is what it is. It's popular music, but some people can have negative connotations with pop. And so with my record, I wanted to show that pop music spans across multiple genres, multiple sounds. And as an artist, you know, you can sometimes be expected to have a certain sound, have a certain aesthetic, stick to a certain formula with the type of music that you make. And I wanted to defy all of those expectations. I am an artist and I like all different kinds of music. And so I wanted to experiment with making different kinds of music instead of just kind of the straight down the middle bubblegum pop that everybody's used to me releasing. So this album has a pop punk track, has a disco track, has some straight up pop bangers, it has a ballad, it has a kind of retro pop song, it even has a folk country song on it. It's got a fully acoustic version of a song on it, which I've never released a fully acoustic stripped down version of any of my songs before. So with this album, I wanted to give listeners a lot of variety and kind of take them on a journey with all of the different sounds and all of the different feelings that you can feel listening to music. I also was really influenced by my adolescence. So growing up when I was a teenager, as probably many millennials did, I downloaded all of my music off of LimeWire. And with LimeWire, you weren't really able to download albums because it would take days, or it would never download, or it would actually be a virus. So you would download singles. And a lot of the times I listened to so many different bands and discovered so much new music through LimeWire, but a lot of the time I only had their most popular song, or it was like a random single, and that was all that I knew about them. So, and in my experience of listening to albums throughout, you know, my childhood, my adolescence, and young adulthood, especially in like the 2000s, I noticed that a lot of pop artists would have, you know, the 1 or 2 singles that would be released to sell the album, but the rest of the album would kind of just be fluff. It would just, there weren't, you know, 12 to 15 bangers all in a row. It was just 1 or 2 good songs, and the rest were kind of throwaway songs that they just had to put on the record in order to fulfill their contract and to sell more CDs. And I didn't want that with my album. I wanted to have an album where every single track stood on its own, had its own world, had its own vision, and that anybody could skip from track to track and have a different experience and not necessarily know exactly who I was as an artist just by listening to one. Like, you get a different experience listening to it all the way through. And so yeah, I wanted each of the songs to stand out on their own and have their own unique sound, and yeah, kind of be like a weird LimeWire experience where you get all these different genres, but it's all me. So yeah, like I mentioned in the beginning, this album has been in progress for like 8 years. So there are a few new songs on it. The most recent songs that I recorded for the album were the first 2 tracks, Crooked and Got Away. I recorded those with producer Frenchie Smith, who is so awesome. He's worked with a ton of super talented artists. It was incredible working with him. He really brought out kind of the angrier side of me. I got to growl a little bit, which I've never gotten to do on my songs. And yeah, those were recorded in April of 2021. Those are the most recent songs that I wrote for the album. The next newest song would be the 3rd track, Love Me Loud, which I wrote in 2019, and then vocals were recorded in 2020. But all of the other songs were actually recorded way earlier than that, or written way earlier than that, with the majority of them being recorded in like 2017, but not being able to be released until now, just because I had to wait to find a producer to finish them. So I recorded vocals for Love Songs and It's Over back in 2017, but didn't have a finished product. So yeah, they just kind of sat in the vault, and I wanted to release them, but it wasn't the right time. I didn't have the right sound. But when I finally decided to release an album, I'd been sitting on all of these songs, and Take Me Home too. I think I recorded that in 2018 with Matt Parmenter, just kind of as a one-off song, but I really, really loved it. And it was so different for me because it was like a folk song, but yeah, they just never come out just because it didn't seem like the right time. And so finally I decided, hey, I'm gonna group all these songs that I wasn't able to finish, and we're gonna get them to the finish line, and we're gonna make an album. So it took a couple of years to get everything all wrapped up. Love Songs was actually the last song that got finished before I submitted the album for distribution. It had gone through a few producers who were gonna release it but didn't, or it wasn't the right fit. But then I started working with Adrian Kroom in 2019, and he made a demo version that was really cool, but it still wasn't like perfect, if you know what I mean. And so I was like, okay, all right, let's just hang on to this, but this is a good like starting point. And then last year in 2021, I met Michael Grubbs, who is an artist known as Wakey Wakey, but he's also a producer, singer, engineer. He's incredible. And so he helped produce Love Me Loud. He did the final production on Love Me Loud, and then he took the production that Adrian had laid down that was already just like fire. And then he just added those finishing touches that just made it like a super banger. So this album has definitely been a team effort, and it's literally been songs that have just been sitting in my vault that I have been just desperate to release for all these years. So it's so exciting to finally have them out and in the open. One of the songs that's really special to me, that's probably the silliest song on the album, is called Fruity. and I recorded that song also with Matt Parmenter, who I recorded Take Me Home with. And that was super fun. It's the first song that I've ever written about my sexuality. I am bisexual. I am a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and I've never written a song about it. In fact, a lot of my songs have gender neutral pronouns just so they can be LGBT friendly, but I have never talked about, you know, my own sexuality in my music. So writing Fruity was a really special experience. I worked with Joseph Gardner on getting the demo together, and then Matt Parmenter, we recorded and finished all of the production. That one was super duper fun to record, and it's different than all my other stuff. I curse, and I'm all sexy and sassy. So, yes, that one was very fun to record and is special in my heart. Yeah, who did I work with on the album? As I mentioned, I worked with Frenchie Smith on Crooked and Got Away. I worked with Matt Parmenter on Take Me Home and Fruity, and then he also helped finish up Love Struck and You Got Me and It's Over. And then, oh my gosh, what are all the things? What are all the songs? Love Me Loud was finished up with Michael Grubbs. I also worked on a demo with Joseph Gardner with that. Joseph Gardner is also Flavor Raid, or Joe with the Notes. He's a local Austin artist as well. Super talented, super fun to work with. My secret sauce, though, is probably my vocal producer. I worked with Ed Boyer on my vocals. He is incredibly talented and just makes me sound like a mega pop star. So I'm always eternally grateful to have worked with him. He's so talented and just takes my vocals to a new level. He did the vocal production on Love Me Loud, Rad Moves, You Got Me, Love Struck, Love Songs, and It's Over. So lots of them. The first song I ever did vocal production with him on was Rad Moves, which Rad Moves is my most popular song, and I wanted to include it on the album just because it's like my shining gem, and if somebody hasn't discovered me yet but finds my album, I would want them to see it. The vocal session for that, just the vocals alone, took 12 hours. So that was a long day, but I feel like it's worth it. I love that song. But yeah, I don't know. I think my album is super fun and refreshing and weird, just like me. I wanted to name it Kady Rain after me because I feel like it represents me. And I wanted to have something that I would be proud of that showed the different facets of what I am capable of doing as both a musician and as even a vocalist, and stylistically. I don't know. It's fun. I really like it, and I hope you enjoy it too. So yeah, go listen to my debut album. It's called Kady Rain.